Damn, young, look at all them barrels in there. They leave the windows open so the change in temperature can expand and contrast the barrels. Savage.
Yeast in a sugar-rich environment. Yeast is going to consume the sugars that are there. We get all of ours naturally from grains. It'll produce 4 basic byproducts. You get lots more yeast. With that comes heat, carbon dioxide. Most importantly for us, alcohol, okay, and more yeast. Okay. Back over that direction. See the gray building? The gray building's a hammer mill, and it's sitting atop 6 corn silos. So we bring corn in here. All of our grains are brought in by truck. We're going to ship the corn up to that building. We're going to run it through a mill. We're going to grind it up, pass it through about number 10 and a half sieve, so it comes out like a medium fine cornmeal. Run it to the building next door, put it in a great big cooker. We use pressure cookers. So if you're a pressure cooker, almost like the Big Knob, 15 pounds. So you're cooking at about 240 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about a 90-minute cycle or so. You start up at the 240, you drop it, you cook the corn first, drop temperature and pressure after about 20-25 minutes. And dry, usually. And there's always a variation on everything I say. About another 20 minutes or so, you drop the temperature down to about 130. You add malted barley. Barley's a grain. Malting it is just getting it warm and wet, letting it sprout or germinate. That releases enzymes that help us with the fermentation process. Okay? All that goop will then get cooled. We put it in drop tub, big old tank. Take it down to about 64. Just like bread, you can't add yeast when it's too hot, otherwise you kill the yeast. Okay? So rather than having 4 of them or 6 of them that are 7,000 gallons, ours are 92,000 gallons each. We have 12 of them. We go through a minimum of 2 a day. Okay?
90,000 or 92,000?
What's that? 92,000. They are about, from me to the pole in diameter, and about 3.5 stories high. For every inch they drop, it's about 264, a little shade over 264 gallons. Okay? It'll run to about 5 to 8% alcohol. We call that distiller's beer. Okay? If you're making beer, that's when you stop. You just kind of clean it up, bottle it, Bob your uncle's. We like a little more bang for the buck, so we distill it. Distillation is heating that goop up. If you think about alcohol, say on the counter or something like that, it evaporates quick. It's more volatile. It evaporates at a lower temperature than water does. So you collect that steam that comes off, collect it in copper pipes. Copper transfers heat quick. Magic comes out the bottom at 110 proof. Okay, that's kind of the process behind that. Then we run it through a second still. It does a couple of things. One is it cleans it up a little bit. The first distillation we refer to as low wine. Second distillation, high wine. That will take off probably right in the 140s, 150 proof. Then you have to drop it. The law requires that you drop the proof down to 125 by adding water to it. And that's what we call white dog. White because it's clear, dog because it bites. Okay? That's what goes into the barrel. Set the inside on fire. Okay? Heat of the summer warms that air up, pressurizes the barrel, pushes the whiskey into the wood. Cool of the night, change of the season, that's gonna, the space changes, you're gonna actually pull a vacuum and suck it back out. So if you think about it, it's sort of like making whiskey tea, but really slowly, using the barrel as a tea bag. You pick up between 80, well, right around 80% of the flavor and the nose comes directly from the barrel and all of the color. So that's why that's so critical. But it's got a granite base to it, dirt floor, kind of a semi-peaked roof, and small. It's holding about 24,000 barrels in it. Okay?
How long have they been in there?
Depends. Some of them in short time, some of them long time. We don't rotate any barrels. Okay, we're holding about 500,000 of them. Nothing moves here. So where it sits is where it's going to stay. Like I said, with makers, you rotate barrels in order to make sure, depending upon where a barrel sits, it's going to taste differently. So you alter the flavor profile. So if you're making a single product, you rotate your barrels around so each barrel spends X amount of time in every spot.
Zero. That is the greatest building on the planet.
What's that?
It's the greatest building.
Oh, it's a darn good one.
So that metal building down there, that's the Blanton's warehouse. It's warehouse H.
300 bottles a minute. Spits them out. Then we do small batch. The law doesn't define what small batch is going to be, but we're going to hold it like many of the distilleries to about 10%. I think E.H. Taylor, some of the Pappy Van Winkle, Buffalo Trace is a great example of a small batch. Maybe 100 barrels or so. Key is the flavor profile, making sure it hits that. Then we do single barrel bottling. And for you guys that know Blanton's, that was the first single barrel produced. What you do with that is you roll one barrel in this window here, that little square window. Wonderful. How are you doing today? Great. You're going to dump it in there. Everything in that bottle came from the same barrel. Now you can kind of see the difference in the function. You got the kind of smaller one there. This one is about 50,000 barrels or so. But it's kind of flat roof, light color, lots of windows. Over here, that's D, very dark, very few windows. High peaked roof, closer to the river. So each one of those has got a different thermocline or a different weather environment within. That's what I was talking about when I said that depending upon where it sits, that's what's going to influence the flavor profile. Okay? Yeah.
David, what causes the blackness on lots of buildings and trees?
There is a sugar mold that occurs with any of the distillation processes. And it's just one of the things that's inherent here in the distilleries.
Okay.
Smallest warehouse is the one down at the far end. That's warehouse V as in Victor. It's holding our 6 millionth barrel, so it's only got one produced since Prohibition. Once we get up to 7 million, which is up to you, I'm doing my part. We'll take that one, we'll put it in the single barrel bottling house. We'll run a batch of that, we'll put it in the small bottles, and then those are all given off to charity. We've never kept proceeds from our single barrel profits. Okay? So barrels are critically important to this process. We get all of our barrels from a company called Independent Estate. They're out of Lebanon, Kentucky, Lebanon, Missouri. The way a barrel works, or the way they started off, is you're going to start with just an oak log. You'll split it, the quarter saw out. You end up, when you cut it like that, with staves that run anywhere from about 1 inch to 6 inches. These will be set outside, aged for about 6 to 8 months. Then we'll plane them down, clean them up a little bit. Then a Cooper's the guy that makes the barrels, is going to hand fit the staves into the rings. And they'll run anywhere from the mid-20s up to the low 40s for the number of staves that go in here. They'll hand select, jam them in until they get the fit they're looking for. At this point, what you do is you steam the barrel. That allows you to bend it, bend the oak. But then while it's still in shape, it's kind of held together by hydraulics. They're going to set it on fire. Okay, you put it over a natural gas burner, and we use a number 4 char. Number 4 char is the deepest char that anybody's using right now. But if number 4 char is about a 55-second burn, and so you set it on fire. Then they're going to relax it ever so slightly. They're going to put a pre-charred top and bottom on. They're going to jam the hoops in place. They'll drill out the bung. The bung is always going to be where the rivets are. That's where they leave the big old wide stave. Okay. They'll put about between a pint and a quart of water in it. Put the cork in and roll it around. That puts out the fire, but it also turns the water into steam. And that's pressurizes the barrel. It's a real quick quality check, just making sure the barrels. They've been doing that for hundreds of years. Anyway, the other kind of cool thing that's here in this display. You guys have been out to other distilleries. Did they talk to you about the angel share? Angel share is that which we give off to the angels to protect us from fire. In reality, remember I said that the white dog goes into the barrel? Heat of the summer actually pushes the whiskey into the wood. You lose about 10% of the volume of a barrel in the first year. Partly due to absorption into the wood, partly due to this evaporative process called the angel share. It's pretty fair. But you're going to lose about 3 to 4% every year thereafter. It doesn't sound too bad until you start looking at it visually. Brand new barrel, going to have 53 gallons, 200 liters. 4 years, you lost about a quarter of it. 9 years, about half. 18 years, about 3/4 of the barrel is gone. So if you think about like our oldest products, Pappy Van Winkle 23-year-old, I've been told that we take between 3 and 5 gallons out of a 53-gallon barrel. So you've lost 90%. Yeah. Did they listen?
Oh, the light's killing me. Oh, you kind of see the line marks. That's wild.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Depends. The proof does go up. It can't go into the barrel any higher than 125 proof. Water has a greater affinity for wood to get through wood than alcohol does. So the proof increases as it goes on. And it's not a real, you can't really depend on it. But I got a bottle of George T. Stagg about 4 years ago. And that is barrel strength and unfiltered. That came out at 142.8 proof.
That's definitely sipping room.
You need nice tea.
Telling you what I mean.
Okay, so it gets darker, it gets more of an oak flavor to it, and the proof does go up as it sits. Okay?
Definitely smells sweeter over here. Like, it's funny how just the smell changes as you walk.
Yeah.
A couple of things about that building. One is it's a really good example of a vertically aging warehouse, which means that there's spaces between the boards, allow convection to run air through. It's also a floating warehouse, so if you look on the wall, you can kind of see the little squares. That's a cabling system that holds the building together. The ricks were built first before the building. It was actually loaded with barrels, and then the building was built around it. The reason that it was built that way was in case there was ever a catastrophic event, you could lose your whiskey, or you could lose your building without losing your whiskey. Top floor, if you can kind of make it out, is a lighter color. Yeah. That's because about 7 years ago we were hit with a catastrophic event. An F3 tornado hit us there, ripped down that section of wall, threw it down the street, peeled back the roof. Barrels were out for about a year. If you're ever lucky enough to find a bottle of Colonel E.H. Taylor Tornado Survivor Bourbon, it was one of the 96 barrels touched by the hand of God. We did not lose a single drop. But based upon that, there's another building kind of up on the hill that we opened up just this last year, and it's called Warehouse X. What we're trying to, we got a wonderful bourbon out of there, and they weren't sure why. Okay, and it came out way different than anything else. And so up there is a specific building built to do experimentals. It's chambered. We can control heat, airflow, humidity, and UV exposure. See if you can replicate that. And then there's a standard in the middle to make sure that the changes you taste are a result of that. But in addition to that, there's probably 4,000 experimental barrels sitting throughout the different warehouses at any given point. take a brand and then just mark the barrel. Now we do it all with ink. But
Oh, it's in there. The science. Oh, it smells different in here too.
no, we've got a couple of different. Did you see that pulled the bung and the cork out of it when they were working? Okay, this is where they do it here. Same type thing. There's the air tool. That's what pulls the cork out. Barrels roll in here, your gravity assist. They'll be picked up by the equipment, set up here. They're going to drill out the bung as it sits. Barrel rolls over. There's a stainless steel mesh. That's what catches the char. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it smells awesome.
This building we're holding about 50,000 barrels. So you're running roughly 13,000 tons. It's a lot of weight when you think about it. Each barrel goes in at between 560 to 580 pounds. In fact, there's a plumb bob partway in. So, and so this will pick a barrel up so you can load it into the rick. Back when most of these things were done, this didn't exist. And so you just had 3 or 4 stout warehouse people that pushed them up a ramp. So.
This don't look like my house with all this Eagle Rare.
Take a look.
Come. So there's 8 different horses?
8 different horses. It's designed to depict a horse race. So you have parade the post, breaking at the start, hold position, go to the whip, cross the finish line, we assume he's won. So he's got a this. You look at the face of it, there's a letter. See the letter? Oddly enough, it's spelled out B-L-A-N-T-O-N-S.
I always thought there was more than 8. I always thought there was more than 8.
Nope, that does Blanton.
Okay.
Okay? In fact, this end and this end are different. The horses are in a different position, so are the jockeys. This end has got 2 dots after it, like a colon, shows it's the second end in the race. Huh? Now on the label, you're going to notice that it says the date that the barrel was dumped. It'll tell you which barrel it came out of, that it was stored in that warehouse H, bottled at 93 proof, and then very, very carefully. But if you look at it, this goes on the first bottle. Okay. I'm going to the 75th bottle. So they're sequential, then 181. So they're sequentially numbered as they're done. So I'm just going to sit.
none of them never beat that horse that time. And I believe that horse could still been running. That horse was a horse.
So 700 ml bottles are for the international market. This is going to Japan. I've never. That's look.
Yeah.
It looks slightly. It looks
Just a
slightly
little,
shorter.
Slightly shorter, a little
It-
thinner, maybe.
No, it doesn't look any thinner at
Actually,
all.
it's about the same, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wow, a 700 ml bottle. That's me. Like, you know what the MSRP is for Japan, or
I'm not, it's just.
I'm assuming that they pay a lot.
But it's pretty wild,
That's the end of a barrel right here.
I need to get this. No. Why'd he pour it out? Why'd he pour it out?
Oh, he's putting it back. Gonna redo it.
Okay.
Because all this is going to Japan.
Okay. So what was wrong with it? What was the actual problem with it?
A lot of them will get dirt off the cork, pieces from the cork, or just getting in the liquor. And so we call that a flow effect. So we pour them back and reprocess it in another bottle. And then sometimes you'll get bad glass. It'll have little scratches on it or whatever. Yeah, we have to kick it out. Just leave a little bit of anything
Look at that
wrong
quality
with it.
control.
We're at the end of a barrel right here. So, that's how we.
Put them over and make it down. Alright. Now, does the air do anything to it? Does the air do anything to it?
Not
You
a
see
whole
it
lot
now?
now.
Okay.
But it would when we
Yeah.
start charring. Yeah.